next steps as well. Hi all.
Hi Andrea.
Thanks for coming out. It's pretty dreary. But we're here with Purposeful Rage, which is always great, right? This is why we get together and do these things. I have a pretty clear message, and I want you all to repeat it after me. Number one, defund CBP. We need to defund CBP, which is Customs and Border Patrol.
Yeah.
Number two, we need to abolish ICE.
Yes.
So repeat after me. Defund CBP.
Defund CBP.
Abolish ICE.
Abolish ICE.
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, we're here to talk about the border wall, Trump's racist border wall. And it's certainly, I certainly agree with that, right? We at the Worker Center are certainly thinking about that all the time. We know what we're up against in our organizing and in our work with all of you in this community. But this is also, I wanted to take this opportunity to also just remind us, right, of the compromise that the Democrats just made with Republicans, right? They are just as responsible of what is happening right now. So Trump, he was asking for $5.7 billion last time I checked for a border wall. I don't know if you guys have been looking at the compromise. The last time I checked, what it had come down to was $1.7 billion for a border barrier and an increase in funding for Border Patrol and for ICE. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? It means more family separation at the border, and it means increasing and strengthening the deportation machine, right? So we can't get distracted. We can't get distracted of the fact that this is an issue, this is a morals issue, and this is a values issue that isn't just coming from the Trump White House, it's coming from our entire government right now. Right? Yeah.
No.
So we said, yeah.
No, that's not the way to go.
No, it's not.
I
Yeah.
disagree with you.
And as far as I'm concerned, regardless of what party you're from, if you are contributing and supporting the funding of ICE, you're supporting torture.
If we had another party in power, the ICE would be a different ICE.
It shouldn't exist.
It shouldn't exist. Abolish ICE.
So I'm here to talk about.
Okay, let her talk.
All right.
As many of you all know, Eduardo Samaniego, who was one of our dearest comrades at the Worker Center, was deported 2 weeks ago. So much of what Eduardo went through is a clear representation of this, right? The border isn't in Texas. We have to remind ourselves that the border is here. ICE's policies and Border Patrol's policies and the funding that was just approved by Congress is coming here, and it's only getting strengthened, right? So we have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of things that we have to continue resisting and organizing around here, right? Eduardo was in detention for 107 days. He was an organizer. He was being outspoken of what was happening. You know, we just spoke to him last week, and he said to me on the phone that the solitary confinement that he faced, he was pretty sure, he felt very certain that came as a retaliation of being outspoken, right?
Yeah.
While he was incarcerated.
Absolutely.
Eduardo was tortured, you know, and he said that. He was telling that those are his own words. Yeah, we do. We miss him. We miss him dearly. And what that tells us, right, is that, but you know, even though this happened, he was in Mexico, he told us, you know, like, we have to keep on fighting. I would like to come back. Also, even though people like to say that I'm free, I'm still not free, right? The criminalization of immigrants and that mentality of being criminalized is something that he said that so many people who, you know, face deportation continue to be plagued with, right? So we have to keep on fighting, and we have to really embody the, you know, solidarity with Eduardo and solidarity for everyone who is caught in the system right now. So yeah, there's also a lot of things we can do here, and that's one of the things that I was sort of told to share with y'all. There's plenty of work to do here. In Massachusetts, we don't have a due process for immigrants, right? There's been like 3 years that we've tried to pass the State Communities Act, which is the most basic due process for immigrants here, for undocumented immigrants. So right now, you know, we need to get involved in that. We need to organize around that. We're also in the midst at the Worker Center. The worker communities are organizing around a driver's license campaign, which is to make driver's license accessible to anyone, regardless of their immigration status. Yeah, and we're building power. And this is something that thousands of people are organizing around across the state, right? And not just, you know, this is really something that we have to organize, you know, across, like, in the truest sense of solidarity, right? This is an issue that undocumented immigrants from all over Western Mass are coming around, and what they're saying that I feel is like a really incredible connection is, you know, driver's licenses are just an immigrant right, it's a worker's right. As farm workers, as restaurant workers, as people who have to travel to get things done, to continue to let this economy in Western Mass continue to function, we have to drive. So having a driver's license and feeling safe to be able to drive is a right? It's not something that we should be asking for and working so hard for. So please, you know, if you guys are interested, there's a lot of work to do around this. We are organizing around this in our worker committees. We're also, you know, Sanctuary the Streets is always a space where we're drawing people in if you're interested in supporting. Our next meeting is March 3rd, Monday, March 3rd, I believe. And we're coming up with committees and concrete ways that you all can get
March
involved.
4th.
So yeah, the border isn't just in Texas, right? It's here, and we have to keep on going. Struggle is necessary. So thank you all for coming out. I'm excited for the rest of our folks here to speak. Thank you.
Representative Lindsay Sabados is our state rep from Northampton. The founder of the Western Mass Safe Community Act Coalition and a former director of the Pioneer Valley Women's March. Here's Lindsay.
Both sides are not equally responsible.
Good afternoon, Northampton. When I was thinking about what I wanted to say to you today, I started to make a list of what actual emergencies are. An actual emergency is Flint, Michigan.
Yes.
There are people who don't have clean drinking water in our country and who are being poisoned. That's an emergency.
Yes.
The dehumanization and criminalization of black and brown bodies in our society, that's an emergency.
Yes.
The inability of our state and federal government to fully fund our schools so that there are districts who are millions of dollars in the hole and not able to properly educate their students, that's an emergency.
Yes.
And the climate crisis.
Yes.
That's an emergency where I think we could take all the money that someone would like to spend on a wall and actually do something to save the planet. So who's with me? Who thinks those I have to say,
Let her finish.
yeah.
Let her talk.
I need to say, before I answer that I also need to acknowledge that I'm not the person who should be speaking here today. The person who should be speaking here today is Eduardo. The people who should be speaking here today are the people who are in the most pain. So what we're going to do is we're going to work to pass some legislation to actually help them. We're going to fight both on the state and on the federal level. And I can fight on the state level. Andrea talked about the safe driving bill. That is something I'm going to fight for because I am disgusted that I live in a community where ICE is picking up people. That shouldn't be happening. And I'm going to continue to fight for the Safe Communities Act because it is, like Andrea said, the most bare bones, simple piece of legislation that we can pass. Now that's not going to solve everything. You're right. We need you. Say it.
Go ahead, Nancy.
I don't think this is democracy. I don't think a single thing that is happening right now is democracy. Democracy is you standing out here today, demanding change, and then heading to the State House, to holding people like me and every other legislator in this crowd accountable, and demanding why that legislation doesn't pass. And if we can't do it, you need to vote us out. That's democracy.
We want to listen to Lindsay.
All right, how many of you are coming to the State House? I need more hands, folks. I need more hands. All the hands need to be up. Because that's democracy, you showing up. How many of you are going to be calling my office and every other legislator in this crowd's office? How many of you are going to be writing to us? How many of you are going to be out marching every single time? That's democracy. That's what we need, and that's the way forward.
Okay.
Thank you.